Welcome to the Beard Me That Beer podcast show. I'm David.
And I'm fucking sick, Sam.
You sound so fucking nasally.
Oh my
you
gosh.
You can probably sing like Justin Timberlake right now.
It is mucus. It's gross. I just like pores, sweat. It's nasty right now.
You have a cold, but not the flu, correct?
Just a cold. Yeah, it's all congestion. That's all it really
Obviously,
is.
Sam is sick, and we have taken Cersei, so we're doing a remote version because the podcast must go on no matter our health status.
Yeah, no excuses.
No excuses, except for being sick, kind of, is an excuse.
Yeah.
But the title of this podcast is 5 games from the past 5 years you should play.
Cool. That's not what we were saying earlier. We were saying many more words.
I think that you're correct. That is a better title. And ironically, Sam and I chose 2 of the same games. So this is not really 5 each. It's more like, what would that be then? 8 in total.
Oh, and bear in mind, I feel like my as a gamer, my interactions with games has definitely gone down in the past few years. So I've played a lot less. Yeah, I'm very casual.
And
if that,
I have ramped up in the last year, 2 years.
So David might have some more insightful
I might have
things to say.
Some controversial picks in my list.
See. We will see.
But no beer, obviously, because Sam isn't here to enjoy the beer. And even if he was sick here, he wouldn't probably drink because he'd probably feel like shit.
I mean, I already feel like that.
So no beer this week, but it's time for the news. Sam.
Headline. Police warn woman not to wear Halloween costume as protest. I briefly looked over this. I don't know how long it is.
Can you read that
I'll try
title
and get through it.
one more time?
Headline. Police warn woman not to wear Halloween costume as protest. It's just a weird headline.
Fucking Halloween costumes mean protest.
All right, this is in there's a Hollywood in Florida. Never mind. South Florida woman says she was warned by a local police officer not to wear a Halloween costume that is designed like a condo building project that she and others oppose since it would be considered a protest for which she needs a permit. That's okay.
What?
Kat. Yeah, this sounds like nonsense. Kat Uden, that is not a name, told the South Florida Sun Sentinel that the officer told her that if she wore the costume to the city of Hollywood's Hollyweird Halloween block party Saturday night, it would be considered a planned protest march. Uden said she still plans to wear the costume, but that she won't bring along her 12-year-old son. I don't want him to see me getting harassed by the police, she said. There's a little bit more, but basically, I think the rest of it amounts to they're building a 30-story condo with tax-owned beachfront land, or on tax-owned beachfront land, and the land is currently home to a park with a community center, and a vote on the matter by city commissioners is expected later this year, but I guess they're protesting that.
Yeah, okay. I understand the protest part. I don't understand how her costume can be considered part of the protest.
Right.
Like, yeah, she's protesting but she could just be like, no, I'm a condo building for Halloween.
Yeah, that is so easy just to shrug off.
Yeah.
That's a nothing. And did she talk about it beforehand?
Yeah, like how did the cops already, like, did she say this is what I'm going to do? Did she post about it? And then they're harassing her even more? Also, Florida is different with taxes. I don't know how it works.
Yeah.
But I would think people with kids would be pretty unhappy if a park in a community center got torn down for a high-rise rich people apartments.
Yeah. Let me see. She got a call from the local police lieutenant after posting about it on Facebook, and when he told her that she couldn't, she basically said, I told him it's a costume party. I don't consider it a demonstration, and that's why I didn't apply for a permit. So,
And she is correct.
yeah, absolutely.
Here's
That
the
sounds
thing.
stupid.
She posted it on Facebook, but
Yeah.
do we know where? Like on her feed or in a group or
Yeah.
on the protest group page?
Yeah.
And then let's be honest. I think there's a lot of things to do in Florida that the police should be taking care of, and Facebook is not one of them.
Yeah. And taking that into consideration, even then, this seems like very low on the list of things you should
Totem
be.
pole
Yeah.
on the bottom.
No, this is not important to be policing like that. So
Yeah.
and anyway, I'm pretty sure that's like protected, like First Amendment, right there.
I mean,
that's like
we
freedom
do
of
have
speech.
the right to assemble, but I believe you still have to, have a permit actually.
Yeah, but it's not like you're marching around a street or something like
I know
that.
she's
You're at
going to a party. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a private.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
understand. Stupid.
Also, that's pretty funny on her end to be the thing she's against.
Yeah, I mean, like
it's a little petty, but I think it's clever. Like I want to be a condo building that I don't want to build on this park.
yeah,
But yeah, that is Floridians.
Floridians.
Chime in if you think that's
Floridians.
a waste of your taxpayer money that the police officers are on Facebook at work.
Looking into costumes for protest purposes.
Protesting. Yeah, that's where that's the real money. That's where the real money is.
For shame.
Thank you for the news, Sam.
You're welcome.
And it's not time for the beer.
Oh,
It's time for the topic. All right, 5 games that have come out from the last 5 years that you should play. Not our favorites, but they may be, but games that people should play if they have not played it. Or I think my games are on the verge of people that have never played games would probably enjoy them.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think we'll just talk about the first 2 we shared. And the first,
Just get them out of the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we've played them on stream. They're absolutely fantastic. From the developer Hazelight Studios, the publisher, which is shocking, Electronic Arts EA.
Oh my goodness.
Because they are cash grab. That's all they want. They want money, and they ruined Battlefront basically. Notoriously
awful developers.
Yeah. Same director, Joseph Fares. This is A Way Out, which real basic. It's 2 people in prison busting out, and when we first played this, I was like, "This game's almost like too short. We're about to be out of jail." Hold the phone. Hold my beer. There's 9 more hours of game.
Okay.
I didn't realize that there was so much more game to it. But yeah, it's 2 people breaking out of prison, and we find out about them. Very, very good character development. Very, very good. Like, hey, they're in it together. Some twist at the end, but the best part about this game, I shit you not, you get to play baseball in it.
Oh, the mini games, man.
So
you get to play baseball.
Yeah,
you get to
have
play
the game, but you also
Oh my
have
gosh.
mini games in it where, like, I think one was working out. Like when you're in prison, you do as many reps as you can on like bench or sit-ups or pull-ups.
True.
That was hilarious. But then you get out of prison and you go to, I think it was one of the characters where his wife and son are, and we're looking for them, and it's like it's just 2 guys playing ball, and we just try to get like the farthest score. And we spent like a good hour, almost hour and a half, just trying to beat each other's score.
It was pretty stupid, just doing that home run derby.
Yeah.
Just kind of nonsense. But yeah, no, I like the variety of gameplay they threw at you was like refreshing, and I know at least for the 2 of us, it'd been a long time since we found like a really like mesmerizing like couch co-op kind of thing to play.
And the funny part is it's only a co-op. You cannot
Exclusively.
play it
Yeah.
solo. You have to play it, and I think that is amazing. Like it's such a fresh breath of air in the gaming community, because now it's all, first person shooters and online, and you can play this online. We played it, locally, but very fun. And it's out on everything but Switch. I feel like it would be really fun on Switch.
It's not on Switch,
It's
really?
not. It's on PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox, and it came out in 2018. Really good game. Really good games. And there's one part in it, my favorite part, the hospital, where there's parts where one of our characters will be on screen, and then they run, and then the camera pans to the other character, and then you go into that character, and you control him. I think that was it felt like so cinematic, but still enough game to be, hey, keeping you on your toes.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that was I'm glad we shared that pick, because
it's just a fun game.
Yeah.
And the next game is, they're very different, but very in the same spirit, I think. It Takes Two, which recently came out this month or this year in March. Another game we played together. And also, so if anyone had made a guess, Hazelight Studios only makes co-op games. They don't make anything else.
At least to this point.
Well, their first game was also co-op. So this is their third game. Again, it's EA as a publisher. Again, the director is Joseph. This one was, like I said, in spirit, kind of like A Way Out, but very different game. You're a married couple, Cody and May, and they're basically about to get a divorce.
They're just on the precipice of just totally splitting. So that's basically what's going on.
Their child, I believe, finds a book, Dr. Hakim, Hakim's book of love, or revitalizing your love. And this book turns them into these dolls, these little tiny dolls. And now it's like a la Toy Story. You kind of have to, you're down on the floor figuring things out. Everything's alive, apparently. Your vacuum is alive.
Yeah.
Your monkey doll is alive, but it's fun. You're just these characters, and you're basically getting to the end of the level, fighting a boss, finding things, getting to the end of the level, finding a boss. But the best part is, every single level is a different game mechanic. So
they're constantly swapping out like move sets, like your skills and everything.
I mean, there was one where we were someone was a wizard and someone was a knight.
Yeah.
And it was top down. Like, it changed the whole game as opposed to a third person view. So we were all top down for a whole level. And then we, underwater level. It just very fun to have all these different game mechanics in one game. So, and I think if it didn't, it would get a little stale. Like if we just had the same powers. But I liked how every single part it changed. We had musical powers at some point. Like it was very funny. It was very funny, and the story got deep for people of divorced parents or children. It really hit home, but Dr. Hakim had to be the funniest fucking character. The book is alive in the game.
Dr. Hakim, who is personified in a book that keeps popping in and out of existence with the ridiculous. I don't even know what kind of accent that is.
Like
what is it? It's
Spanish,
like Spanish, but over the top.
Yeah,
it's
always
ridiculous.
a Spanish guitar and Spanish music. And again, this game also had lots and lots of mini games, and I think at one point where we're like, if we finished the game and the stream was only like an hour in, we're like, all right, let's go find all the mini games
and just do them.
Yeah, there was like snowball fight mini game, what was that, curling and the ice
yeah, that was super random.
Curling.
No, and then there was like that cool ice skating race.
Oh yeah, the ice skating race,
and
the snail racing one. but they were like the snail racing was odd, but it was fun looking around the game because you wanted to see as much as possible, because it was such a really good story. Everything was almost. I almost think it was like a perfect game. I didn't see really anything bad about it.
Yeah.
And then music instruments, right? There was like I know Way Out had the music instrument where you had to play piano and guitar. And then I think that It Takes Two had a whole music level, that's for sure.
I mean, yeah, there was like a whole section of the game devoted to
setting up a concert.
Yeah, and what's it? May actually sings and stuff.
Yeah,
so
that's not a career.
Yeah, no, but it was really cool watching those characters kind of like learn to like each other again.
Yeah, they fall back in love.
Yeah.
They see why they were in love in the first place, and I blame their child for them falling out of love. I'm just saying. I feel like every time it's like, well, when she was born, after, it's like always like when we
I had to give this up because
responsibilities. All right, so we shared those two games. Sam, would you like to go first?
I mean, not really.
Okay.
But I can go first.
You will go first.
I will go first. Okay, so I guess my number 3, or my first solo game that I really like. So as I mentioned before, probably on previous podcasts, I like single player, like story plot driven games for the most part. That's kind of like my preference. But hold on, I want to make sure. I'm pretty sure this came out within the past 5 years. Let me double check.
I'm pretty sure.
I am like 150% positive that is the case.
2015.
Yes, May 10th, 2016. So
nice.
just under. But Uncharted 4. Big fan of that franchise. I really like Nathan Drake, and this was kind of like his swan song game, because I mean they haven't gone back and made another one with him in the time since, but it was kind of his last hurrah. But if you're unfamiliar with the Uncharted games, it's basically just picture like Tomb Raider, or like, if you want to go even more old school, like Indiana Jones, but you're basically playing as Indiana Jones and you're going around finding old ruins, ancient treasures, and like fighting off bad guys while you're doing all this stuff. And all the games are like super reliant on these huge, crazy, amazing, like cinematic set pieces where it's just like shit's just falling down and exploding, and you're trying to not like get burned alive and run away and just do all this nonsense. But
is it open world?
No, not really. It's
Okay.
pretty. I mean, there are definitely more open sections, but it's very, very much a linear kind of game.
It's not like you go to the levels; you just follow the levels.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, they pretty much plot it out for you.
Cool.
But
I never played it.
You would love it. I'm
6
pretty sure you
just
would like
came
it a
out,
lot.
right? Is that what just came out? Uncharted 6, or am I thinking of a different game?
I think you're thinking of a different game. There's, I think there was like a spin-off one that came out since, that kind of focused on some side characters. But there hasn't been. I know they just announced the movie. Like there was a trailer that popped up
with not Matt Damon, Mark Wahlberg, right?
Yes. Yeah. And it looks like it kind of pulls some stuff from this game in particular. But basically, it's Nathan Drake, the main guy. He's kind of pseudo-retired, but then his long-lost brother comes back from the dead. He thought he was dead. He wasn't dead. And he's kind of in this situation where he needs to find this ancient pirate treasure, and he wants his brother to help him. Otherwise, there's like this drug cartel that's coming after him, and it's kind of crazy and frantic. But like, I don't know, man. I just love those games.
Are these long games? Like,
that one, I would say, if you're not like sprinting to the end of it, anywhere from like 8 to 10 hours probably.
Okay, so
it's a pretty good length.
It's a good length, not short, but not like The Witcher.
No, it's nothing like that. It's Witcher those kind of games. That's more open world. This
Yeah.
one's like, you go point A to point B, and there's a little wiggle room in between, but not a whole lot. And I think probably one other thing I want to say before moving on is I know it came out in 2016, but it's still a very pretty game to look at. Like, sometimes I'll just when I was playing it, I would just look at the scenery and just kind of zone out for a bit, because I don't know what it is, but the way the art direction and just their choice of settings, the locations they decided to develop in that game, they're just really, really freaking pretty to look at. So, yeah, no, it's a lot of fun.
Cool. And they're shooting, but also I'm assuming, yeah, I like you said, Tomb Raider. I've only played the recent Tomb Raider, so I'm there's guns, but there's also
yeah,
healing
it's
and tools and bow and arrow and machete or something like that, right?
Yeah, it's probably less bow and arrow kind of stuff than Tomb Raider, but it's a lot of gunplay, and basically you fight with adventure. It's he has they introduced a cool new mechanic in that one where he basically has a rope at his hip that he can throw and lasso around stuff and traverse and kind of use in combat, which is, it doesn't sound that interesting, but when you're playing it seems,
because then you can
it's pretty seamless.
Climb up high or do some sort of drop down action on an enemy. Okay, good choice. Never played it. Probably won't, but it's only on PlayStation, right?
For the time being, until they do a PC port or something. Or
that's why I haven't played it, because I'm not a PlayStation guy. All right, my first solo, aka my third game, is a game that I didn't think I would fall in love with that much, but holy moly, Jurassic World Evolution.
Okay, now I know you've streamed this,
it's so much fun.
Yeah, please get into it. I'm curious because it looks weird to me.
It is what you would consider a business simulation game, like your Zoo Tycoons or Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Any insert blank and Tycoon.
Yeah, developed by Frontier Developments. It is for every single platform: PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and the Switch. Came out in 2018, and in 2020 it came out for the Switch, which I feel like that happens all the time now. Nintendo does its own thing. Oh yeah, if we want that game, we'll reach out to you. But,
yeah, we'll get it later.
But real cool, because it's not just build your park. They have that mode where it's Sandlot, build whatever you want, no goals, but there is a story mode. And Jeff Goldblum is the narrator of the game, and it's actually him. Yeah, it's actually him narrating, and it's really cool because it's just his character from Jurassic World or Dominion or whatever, Fallen Kingdom, kind of the same thing where he's really against what's going on. And I think Bryce Dallas Howard and BD Wong too are also the voice actors for themselves, their character. So there's a lot of objectives that you can do, and this gets you skins, new dinosaurs, new buildings, and you have different parts of the park too. So you have all the islands, and then there's parks on each island that you have to you get the first island, it's when you get to 4 stars, you can go to the next island and then do some objectives there. But then it'll be for you to get the next story, you have to go back to your first island and get 5 stars. And then you can get the next part. And then some of the objectives are very, very difficult. There's one where you just have to irritate the Indominus Rex with the Indoraptor and a Spinosaurus, and you cannot have them in the same spot. But so you're gonna have tons of they escape. Your dinosaurs escape, and they try to eat people and kill people. It's oh, don't drop below 2 stars while this is happening. And but I figured out you have these you have rangers, and then you have your military, where you come in a helicopter and you basically put these dinosaurs to sleep. So I learned that you just kind of fly in and start shooting them all the time with flares or keeping them asleep. But yeah, it's a very hardcore version of Zoo Tycoon. I think it's a much better version of Zoo Tycoon. They even go as far as food, like designing food for the dinosaurs. And I kind of stopped there because I was like, this is so hard. Like that was one of the hardest things I had to do. Not to mention like you're at the whim of how much money you're making. And some of these islands, it's like, here's the money you're making, and that's all you get. And I had to restart a couple islands because I bought too much and didn't have the funds coming in. But yeah, really fun. And it's dinosaurs, and they all do. Every time a dinosaur is born, it does like this cinematic thing of it coming out, and Jeff Goldblum will narrate every time it's a new dinosaur. It's it. It's just really, it's a fun game. And number 2 is being released at the same time this episode comes out. I think at November.
Very soon.
November 9th is the new Jurassic World Evolution, which is what I already pre-ordered it, and I cannot wait because it's. I guess all the dinosaur parks are in the world now and not on the island. So it's following kind of Fallen Kingdom. Very, very fun game, though. Very fun. It's very easy to just like get lost and play it for a couple hours, and then you realize, oh my God, it's been 5 hours.
Well, cool, buddy. I'm glad you picked like a different kind of game too.
Yeah, I'm usually a first-person shooter type of game. I only have one on this list, actually. I feel like I'm a lot more stingy on first-person shooters because Halo 2 and 3 were so good. And I hate Call of Duty.
Yeah, and that pretty much eliminates
and that's like 99%
most of the
market,
rest of it. Yeah.
Okay, your turn again.
All right, let me get into some weeb shit.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So this game came out, at least in the West, January 25th, 2019, but it is Kingdom Hearts 3. I just started replaying this recently. So are you familiar with these games, David?
Disney, right?
Disney, yes.
Disney.
Disney meets Final Fantasy and just whatever comes to mind when you think of those crossing
with the
together.
Key, right? The guy with the key.
Yes,
Okay.
that's Sora.
Card captor, right?
Yeah, exactly. Card Captor Sora.
So I know this series because it's, I think, on everyone's list, top 10 series of all times. Final Fantasy is definitely on the list, but I've never played Kingdom Hearts.
It's definitely an acquired taste because it's I don't want to get into the plot just because it's a lot like Metal Gear in that it's like super convoluted and it's like everyone's related to everyone but in like weird ways, and it's like they really don't stop to hold your hand and explain the plot at any point over the course of the games. And I know I said Kingdom Hearts 3, but there's technically like I want to say like 8 to 10 games, and like there's like that's like including like side games, but they're really not side games because a lot of the plot relies on these other games that aren't technically numbered titles. So if you were to jump in from like Kingdom Hearts 2 to Kingdom Hearts 3, you'd be so fucking lost because you're like there's so much story that's happened in between that nobody addressed. But basically it's just Square Enix, the guys that do all the Final Fantasy stuff, they partnered up with Disney and they're like, hey, let's do something. So they've got not all of the Disney IP, but a lot of the major Disney IP. They kind of not necessarily shoehorn them into these games, but like a facet of the games is that you're this. He's like a teenager and he's got this cool sword. They call him Keyblades, but basically they unlock different worlds and you travel to these places, and there's an overarching story, but basically you travel these places and like meet new people, make friends, and fight off the darkness.
The darkness, is that what they call it?
It is that part of of these games is kind of garbage because it's I don't know. You could literally just like write out all of the dialogue and just have it say light, dark, just, and that's basically just that back and forth across the however many games I said. But yeah, but then like there's like these really weird moments in these games where it's like, oh, I'm like this little, like, I don't know, 16-year-old anime kid waving this sword around. Meanwhile, you've got Donald Duck casting like a lightning spell in a corner, and then Stitch from Lilo and Stitch is like shooting a ray gun. It's just so bizarre because it's just like something about the aesthetics of both these things. I feel like they're not supposed to work together, but it's really, really bizarre, and I don't know. But I didn't even address. So these are technically like they call them character action games.
Is it team based? Like you have a set of 4 or 5 characters that you.
So like, it's you only control one character at a time, and most of the Kingdom Hearts games it's just the one person. So I think Sora, he's the lead character most of the time, but it's always there's a party mechanic, so you usually have like 2 other people with you, and with Sora it's usually Donald and Goofy, and yeah, you know, you kind of fight like these weird, essentially like putties everywhere you go. And, you know, if for a certain crowd, yeah, they're basically putties. You go around and just beat the shit out of these things, and yeah, and you can use magic. You can swap out your keyblades for like different kinds of keyblades, and they all have different perks. And yeah, I really can't get into the plot because it's just nonsense at this point. But
it follows the Final Fantasy plot too, right?
Not not really, because like in this game in particular, they kind of shied away from but really mentioning any Final Fantasy stuff at all. Because Sora is like he's like exclusive to this game franchise kind of character. But like the gimmick before was like they would bring in Final Fantasy characters, but yeah, they play kind of like a certain type of Final Fantasy game.
Is it turn-based?
No, it's all real time.
Action.
Like
okay.
Yeah, like think of like not quite like a God of War or something like that, but a little more fast paced, like those games. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I like that game a lot, and it's just cool.
I mean, that's a big Kingdom Hearts. Everyone, I think, even if you haven't played it, and if you're into gaming, you've heard of it.
Yeah. Oh, and I just want to say I'm a big nerd for like all the fucking music in those games, because just like in addition to all the cool Disney stuff, just like the Kingdom Hearts soundtrack in particular is just bangers. So
bangers, only bangers. Good choice.
So
buddy.
good, like you can fall asleep to that stuff. Thanks, man.
My 4th choice, which is some game I've come to love, and I think people should play it because it really turns down the fear knob, and people are afraid of playing battle royale games because they're playing with other people, and it's like, I'm gonna be killed in the first second. This game makes it really easy to get into it, and I'm talking about Fortnite. I've recently really got into it, and I've realized that this game, I've played Warzone and I hate it just because it's like you have to have a loadout and have knowledge and a vast knowledge of the meta. In Fortnite, you don't know loadouts. You land and you pick up whatever you can. That being said, the building part, this is a 2-dimensional game. You have it's a 3rd-person shooter, but also you build with materials that you collect, and you build ramps, boxes, and buildings and whatever, and these are supposed to protect you. But yeah, Epic Games, and I believe Epic Games is a multi-million-dollar company now because of Fortnite. They have it's a better cash grab than EA. So you have all the skins that you want. and people really like the skin aspect a lot, and I like it too. I only have 2 skins, or 3 skins, but that's okay. But this game is on everything: PC, iPhone, the Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, and Android. Like, it's on everything. But it's a battle royale survival game. You land somewhere, you try to get as many materials. On the outside, a storm is closing in on you, and you just try to be the last person alive. Shooting obviously is important, but building is super important. I'm learning to build now, and it's hard for old timers like me and Sam to learn those new games. They're frustrating, and really kind of like, you have these 7-year-olds that can do it, and it's like, God, I mean, I remember when it was just shooting, and that was like, you could be really good at that. Now it's like, nope, there's another aspect that you have to be really good. But still, very fun game. You don't need the building when you are like in the bottom rankings, because no one really knows. There's some people that are really good at building, but really bad at shooting or being aware of their surroundings. But it's fun. It's like cartoony too, and I think it's playful, and it's not serious at all. But there is a serious aspect to it when it comes to the top like 500 players. But still a very fun game.
Yeah, I would agree with you, David, and like that. I feel like that's probably a lot coming from me because I'm pretty like set in my ways
Sam
with that kind of stuff.
Will not play battle royales unless we play together.
Not necessarily battle royales, but like I am such an old man when it comes to online gaming. I'm just, I don't understand it. It's just it's loud noises.
Who are these kids?
But tune into any of our streams and like we just have a ball every time we play it. So
it's super fun, and it's fun when you get people playing with you, and it's a good community game. But it also sucks when you have to communicate with people that aren't communicating or don't have a mic, or they are in fact 7 years old, and
which there is a lot of
worlds apart.
Yeah. But no, that's a great pick, man.
All right, is this your last one?
I think it is.
And we said this before. Sam is sick, so we're keeping it kind of short. He needs to rest.
Yeah, I'm just gonna drink probably lots and lots of orange juice following this. So, okay. Do you want me to pick something you would expect me to pick,
No,
or do
I
you
want
want
you
me
to
to
pick a
say
game that you think people should play. I expect Devil May Cry, but do you think people should play? Or Resident Evil, do you think people should play?
Okay, so you nailed the two that I would be talking about.
I think Resident Evil is closer to a game that people should play, but I haven't played Devil May Cry, so I don't know.
I mean, okay, I'll name drop both of the ones I was going to say, but I'll only talk about one. So, Resident Evil has quite a few entries come out recently, but I would say maybe in like the past 3 or so years, they started. No, that's not entirely true, but they started revisiting some of their older titles and just polishing them up and releasing them to a newer audience. They did that with their remake of Resident Evil 1, but they did like a ground up remake, just total perspective shift and just different kind of gameplay mechanics with the Resident Evil 2 remake, which is just a crazy good game that I really like a lot. So there's that one. Or I could talk about Devil May Cry 5, which is probably my favorite game that's just probably in that entire franchise. I'll save that for another time. I'll talk about Resident Evil. So Resident Evil 2, if you haven't played Resident Evil at all, it's just you start out as like more or less like a cop, like a I guess the equivalent of like a SWAT team of just like specialist cops, and they would bust into this mansion that's overrun with zombies, and that's more or less how the first game starts. But the second game is the outbreak has broken out. The outbreak has extended to the main city, which is Raccoon City, and you play as either Leon, who is a rookie cop, or Claire, who is a college student looking for her brother, Chris, who is the main protagonist from the first game, who is not in town, so she just came into town looking for a guy that's not there. But they kind of have to stick together when all the shit hits a fan and figure out how to get out of town. And meanwhile, just all kind of nonsense is happening. And there's your run-of-the-mill zombies. Then you have more of like special infected types for anyone more familiar with like a Left 4 Dead or Back 4 Blood. They have in this one they're called lickers, or you have your tyrants, which I guess more people would be familiar with, like the Mr. X or like a Nemesis. Basically just big tank dudes in like trench coats just follow you around and just don't
trench
die.
coats.
Yeah. Well, at least in this one in particular, he's like wearing a trench coat, but he's just one scary motherfucker. He's huge, and you can slow him down for a second, but he'll drop you. And then yeah, so it's a remake of a much older game. I think it's from like 1998, but like they just redid it from the ground up, so it looks more like Resident Evil 4. So it's like a third person's perspective, and camera slightly behind the shoulder, and you just shooting stuff and running away, and I don't really know what else to say about it other than it's just like the updated visuals, and like they kind of sped the story up in a way that they didn't really cut out a lot, but they kind of get most of the main stuff in there that they need to. And I think you're looking anywhere from like 6 to like 9 hours of gameplay, as long as you're not like, hustling through the thing. It's
That seems kind of short for a Resident Evil game, right?
that's for a single playthrough. So you have
as a character.
The campaign is slightly different between both.
Okay.
Like different parts of the map open up depending on who you are, and different cutscenes too.
Cool. I like that a lot. I like it when they do that.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, it's really good. I like that game a lot.
And 21 years in the making.
Yeah.
1998 is when they came out, and it released in 2019.
Well, I mean, if you're counting the original Resident Evil 2 versus this remake.
Yeah, that's a long time.
That's a long time.
And it's still like a backpack or like inventory style game? Or did they change that for the remake?
No, that's pretty much... It looks a little different, but that's pretty much still
like
there.
Suitcase,
so.
I bet, kind of thing. Yeah,
exactly. It's
that's
just,
all I know. I played Resident Evil 8 by myself. I still haven't finished it, but it's a suitcase.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's Resident Evil for you. That just cumbersome, giant, unwieldy. Yeah, doesn't make any sense.
That's
but
a
you
good
got
way
him.
of putting it. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. My last game, people are gonna shit on. I didn't have a problem with it at all. Technically, there was lots of bugs that people reported, and it was almost unplayable for the PlayStation. Mm-hmm. This is Cyberpunk 2077 from CD Projekt Red.
Controversial.
I said it was gonna. I have a controversial pick, and this is certainly controversial because some people just hated. That being said, I had no bugs on like I would say 80 to 90% of my gameplay. Like playing it when I updated, when they had the first update while I was playing it, then I started getting lots of bugs. So the game would stop playing. I get stuck. I think I've had like probably like 0 crashes until the patch update, and then I had like 20 something crashes afterwards. Like that being said, it's a first person shooter. I can't say anything else because that's what it is. There's no other aspect to it. Either you shoot a lot with futuristic guns, or you have mods on your person that have blades coming out of your hands, which is really cool. Or basically springs in your legs that make you jump higher. But I guess this game had been teased years ago, I think at E3, and it had just been for the longest time there nothing. And I'm assuming because like the technology wasn't there to make it. But yeah, it was unplayable on PlayStation. That it got taken off the market, and I believe there's a lawsuit. And yeah, I enjoyed it. So really good story. Keanu Reeves is in it. You don't see the title screen until about my first playthrough. I think 8 hours in. Then you see, yeah, that was my first playthrough. My second playthrough, I think it was like 3 hours in. So you learn a lot the first playthrough and where to find what you need, but a lot of the plot is based on a lot of choices you make and your relationship with Keanu Reeves' character, and how close you become to him. But very, very, very fun game. Lots of twists, lots of good plot, very big plot. There are a lot of grinding parts about it where you kind of just have to grind stuff and grind for money. It's really hard to get a lot of money, and there's a lot of things that cost a lot of money that you just can't. Like upgrades and blueprints for really good weapons, or upgrading your weapon and building it to be better. It costs a lot of money because those parts are so expensive. That was the really thing I did not like. But yeah, very good plot. I liked the story. Voice acting was really good. Music was fun, and then just kind of like a dirty 2077 feel, like no one gives a fuck. And it's bleak but very, very cool. Reminded me a lot of like kind of a Judge Dredd, the remake, kind of that world.
Kind of dirty dystopian future kind of thing going on.
But really fun. I liked it. I'm gonna play it again when I get the Xbox Series X. That's for sure.
And you've sunk, okay, at this point, how many hours?
I mean, the first time I think I was like 80 something hours on the first game playthrough, and then I played it a little bit on the second playthrough, and that was probably like 20 something hours. It's very easy to get into it, because then you're like, I want everything. I want to do every mission, and I did. I did every mission on the first playthrough. Every little mission, but there are missions that just keep popping up, like small cop things that you don't really make money. But I did every single mission that you can check off. But it was really fun. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot, and like I remember the final thing. I almost got every ending. I think there was 2 endings I did not get, because that depends on your relationship with Johnny Silverhands. But I did every ending like the last night of streaming it, and I think I ended up streaming for like 6 hours, because that's how long the endings took. Like I literally came into it like, all right, this is the end, and it took me like 6 hours to do 6 endings. It was so much to do still. But fun game. I like it a lot.
Well, cool, man. Yeah, and that I think that was a good pick.
Yeah, it's a fun game. I mean, if you can play it, play it. It crashes, but you get past it. I think on the Xbox Series X, I think on PC, it's where you should play it, because the PC can handle it. But I guess the Series X is good enough. And the only bad part is they had this list of, hey, we're gonna have all these DLCs lined up for 2021. Recently, they just moved all that to 2022.
Oh no!
So it sucks. I really want more, and for everything that was planned for it, could have been a really crazy big game.
Well, I mean, like, you got a lot of game for.
Yeah. No, I got my money's worth. Yeah.
And I feel like over time, Cyberpunk will end up being kind of like a No Man's Sky kind of situation, where that game wasn't like.
It kind of flawed.
Yeah. But then like over time, like with all the updates and patches and whatnot, it was more or less what they promised at the beginning.
And then I think No Man's Sky was like another step to a bigger game that
Right.
like it's a stepping for someone to do the same thing but better.
Yeah.
So hopefully that happens.
Yeah. Well, cool, man.
Cool. It's time for Sam suggestion.
Suggestions. This week, my suggestion. I don't have a release date for when this came out, but I was shopping around as you do on Netflix recently, and I came across
Shopping
a cool,
on Netflix?
yeah, window shopping. You're like
Okay.
looking for stuff to watch.
I know what you're saying. Yes.
You know, David.
Yes.
All right. But I found I don't remember seeing any trailers or any teases for it at all, but there was a really cool Bob Ross documentary on Netflix right now called
I thought I saw it for a minute, and then like it was very dark,
it was very dark.
like grim trailer.
Oh,
I didn't
it's
watch it. I didn't watch the trailer, but I think I saw it for a second.
well, it's called Bob Ross: Happy Accidents, Betrayal, and Greed. So
That's a great title.
It basically, yeah, no, and it's it basically just informs you about Bob Ross if you don't know who he is. Just a famous painter who came up from like late 70s through the 80s and 90s. But we've parodied him or paid homage to him in our own way. He's like big afro hair, just like the nicest seeming dude, just always painting like really scenic stuff. But it basically just kind of details like his life and like kind of all like the hurdles he kind of had to overcome, like getting his shows and products out to the masses, and like just kind of the people he was involved with that kind of made it difficult for him to do that stuff. It's really interesting because I just based off of what I knew about him before any of that, I just thought, oh, he's just I always pictured him like a Mr. Rogers, just like a really nice, just cool dude, but like he had a lot of interesting stuff happen to him. So
Now I need to watch this.
yeah, no, it's really it's a good watch, and it's like an hour and a half. It doesn't take up a whole lot of time, and I feel like you learn some cool stuff.
Cool.
And it's a bit of a sad story, but I feel like it's got some nice.
I mean, we know the ending.
Yeah, it's that's a bummer, but
Yeah.
it's a good story. So,
Well, thanks for that suggestion. I mean, documentaries are an awesome thing. And Bob Ross.
yeah, and it'd been a bit
awesome
since
person.
I'd seen like a good one that like really like piqued my interest right away. So,
Like Tiger King.
yeah, that thing. Great.
Thanks for the suggestion, Sam. And
Yeah.
thank you for all watching our remote Sam is Sick edition of the Beer Me That Beer podcast show. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thanks for watching and or listening.
Keep drinking, keep listening. Beer Me That Beer is a San Diego-based craft beer YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, and podcast show.
And for more of us, check out beardmethatbeer.com. That's beardmethatbeer.com. If you want to reach out directly to us, email us at bmtbinfo@gmail.com. That's bmtbinfo@gmail.com.